If you own a business, have ever thought about starting a business, or ever dreamed of being your own boss, this video is going to be for you, because what I'll do is we're going to help you identify which type of business that you actually want to build. That way you don't grow in the wrong direction and end up building yourself a prison instead of an actual business. So if you already own a business and you're having trouble extracting capital from it, or if you can't answer the question in a positive way of, can I go on vacation and have my business still grow if I'm not working? If you can't answer yes to that, this video is going to solve that for you. So there are two types of businesses, and people fall into a trap because they don't understand what they're actually building. The two types of businesses are cash flow style businesses and equity style businesses. There's two styles that I like to understand and follow. So when people are having difficulty extracting capital from their business, it's typically because they are treating their business as the wrong type or the wrong style. So let's define cash flow and let's define and then we'll define equity. We'll go one at a time, and then we'll go through the benefits and cons of each. And then we'll do something really fun by going through your business.
Oh, yay. Before we start, is there a right and a wrong answer to like which one your business is?
No.
Okay.
No, there's really not. Well, yes and no. But the reason I say no is because as long as you're aware of which type of business that you're building, it can thrive.
Okay.
And you will understand and have the proper expectations for it. If you don't know the difference between the two, and you're trying to build an equity style business, or you're acting as an equity style business, but in reality it's a cash flow style business, you're going to have a horrible time. You're going to constantly be lacking resources, and you're going to ride the income roller coaster up and down, and you're just going to struggle, and you're not going to understand why. And this is going to be the reason why. So as long as you understand which you're building and why, it's okay.
Okay.
And you can transition one to the other.
Yeah.
Like your ultimate goal should be to move into an equity style. You're probably going to start off as a cash flow business, but you eventually want to move it to an equity style, or you're going to be left with nothing. So, I mean, basically, if you only build a cash flow style business, what'll end up happening is you'll eventually get tired, what people call burnout. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be, your love or your passion, whatever you started to become your own business owner, become your own boss, right? Even though you hate your boss right now, you want to become that person. It just doesn't really make sense. But like, if you're only going to run a cash flow business, inevitably, you're not going to have much to show for it.
Yeah.
Inevitably, it's just the way it works. Not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, when you get tired, when you finish it, when you quote unquote retire from it, you're not going to have anything to show for it, with the exception of maybe a few assets that you've accumulated along the way to hopefully supplement your income in the future. That's about it.
Okay. So define each one for me. What is an equity? Start with cash flow. What's a cash flow business?
Start with cash flow. So a cash flow business is a business that is built around the owner. So, and the whole point of the cash flow business is to create capital. That's it. It's to create cash flow. It's to create margin, customer retention, hopefully customer fulfillment, but not always. It's usually just customer acquisition and customer fulfillment, because what they want to do is they want to create cash.
Okay.
So now it might sound like, well, every business wants to do that, but that's actually not the case. The reason that it's a cash flow business is because there's no real systems. And if there are systems, they become null and void if the owner leaves. Okay. Everything is built around the owner. So typically in a cash flow business, what you're going to see is you're going to see the owner or the founder or the manager on the face of it. You're going to see, you're going to see them in the training.
We're a cash flow business right now.
We are absolutely a cash flow business right now. Absolutely. And I'll use myself as an example as we tell stories.
Yeah.
And I'll give you examples of where I've made mistakes and where I was close to converting it to the equity style business that I was acting like I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to go into that, so we can kind of earmark that. But so a cash flow business is built around the owner. They are the technician. They essentially go to the business every single day and operate within the business instead of on the business. That is a cash flow style business.
Okay, so they are like, even though they're the owner, they are the employee too.
They're absolutely the employee too. Let's just use a quick example. My coaching.
Yeah.
My coaching is a cash flow style business. I am very aware that if I stopped coaching right now, all revenues stop immediately.
Yeah.
Overnight, the business can go from 6 or 7 figures to zero overnight. I am aware of that. I didn't used to be aware of that.
Right.
I thought I was building something of value previously. I wasn't. Cash flow businesses essentially have zero extrinsic value. And what I mean by that is no one can buy it.
Yeah, nobody can buy Fleming consult because they don't have Fleming.
It can't be sold.
Yeah.
The most valuable thing in a cash flow business is the contact list. So essentially, you could be running a 7 or 8 figure mentorship, coaching business, cash flow style business, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be mentorship or coaching too. Like, think of your favorite YouTuber.
I'm cash flow.
You're absolutely cash flow business right now.
Yeah, because if I stop doing photo shoots, the business stops.
Exactly.
If I go on vacation, the business isn't working while I'm gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a cash flow style business. So you think of your favorite YouTuber or your video game streamer or anything like that. Those are all cash flow businesses. They might make a lot of money. Cash flow business doesn't have anything to do with how much you make.
Yeah.
It's the actual style and structure of the entity. So what's some of the benefits of a cash flow business? Well, you can take 100% of the liquid capital out of it every single month and put it in your pocket. That's a serious benefit. That's why people get into cash flow businesses without truly understanding them, because they just see the upfront benefit of how quickly you can sell something. Now, the problem becomes you're going to get tired and you're going to get burnt out.
You're going to need to take a vacation.
You're going to need to take a vacation at some point. You're going to need to step away at some point. So if you aren't understanding how to spend, right, on assets to accumulate and ensure a future income, you will always be that cash flow style person. So think about, Mary's Diner down the road.
Yeah.
Cash flow style business. There's nothing to sell there, really. Now, if Mary's Diner becomes a McDonald's franchise, that then in turn becomes an equitable or equity style business.
Okay. So what's what's an equity business?
So an equity business is something that has a real product,
Okay.
real people, real systems, real momentum, real potential, and they own real equity. They own real equity in an actual space of the market. So an example of an equity business, a simple one's like, I use McDonald's as an example. Think of Walmart. Think of, these larger corporations. Think of the stock market, right?
Yeah.
So in the stock market, you don't see cash flow style businesses because there's nothing to buy. There's nothing tangible. There's nothing real necessarily about them. A cash flow style business is typically based on the intellectual property or IP of the owner. That's why the owner is all over everything.
Yeah. The owner wears all the hats and runs the whole business. Yeah,
because that's their. So some people will be like, "Oh, that's a solopreneur, is a cash flow business." Not necessarily. Not necessarily. They can become an equity style business, but early on it's going to be a cash flow business. And also the solopreneur has to learn how to delegate at some point if they want to grow out of just their one space.
Yeah.
Right. A solopreneur is able to survive because they understand. They become a financial expert and understand that when capital comes in, you don't just consume it, you spend it on an asset that will ensure your future income, such as real estate. So an example of our businesses, right? So we own equity style and cash flow style. And I'll go into why I still own a cash flow style if I'm obviously aware that it can go to zero overnight.
Yeah.
Okay. So our equity style is not only our real estate investment portfolio. Like that's equity because why is that an equity style business? It's not just because it's real estate. It's not just because there's a tangible asset there that someone can buy and you can extract capital from. It's because of the systems and the workflow behind the real estate. That business can grow without me being involved in it. We have people in place and we have systems in place that are both real and they both operate and they both...
That thing operates around you at all times. You don't even know half the decisions that happen in that business because you trust the people who you hired and you can leave for
that's a great
6 months and everything will still operate around you.
And even grow.
Yeah. It'll still be growing, making money.
Become even more profitable. Yeah. Absolutely. Become more valuable. Exactly. Yeah. Very, very good. So the reason that it's an equity style business isn't just because it owns boxes with tops on top of them, the real estate. It's because the people operating and the systems operating are all real. Somebody could come in and say, I would like to purchase your investment portfolio business, not the real estate under it,
The whole
Like
business.
you'll get that with it because you control it, but I want to buy the actual entity that runs it. They would be able to do that and be profitable day one. So what that is an equity style business, owns real things, owns real systems, has real systems that are scalable and can be hired and trained.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, what happens with an equity style business is you are increasing a share value. That's how you increase your net worth. That's how you explode your net worth. It's not through cash flow style businesses and working harder. It's through gaining share value. So equity style business have shares. So as an easy example, let's just say you start a business and it's an equity style business and you have 100 shares and they're all valued at $1. What's your net worth?
$100.
Your net worth's $100. Now, if you work, this is a mindset shift. This is the important piece behind this. This isn't just about creating money. Okay. This isn't just about creating cash flow. This is about creating earnings, which is different, and value. So you want to increase the value of your systems. You want to increase the value of your entity. So if you improve the systems, the people, the hiring, the training, everything, the product acquisition, the product creation, if you have all of these things improving, your values per share increase. So let's say you have 100 shares, and now each share is valued at $10. Now your net worth is $1,000, but you didn't necessarily create any more margin, right? And your earnings will increase as these things improve. That's the whole point. But the value per share is what actually becomes your rocket fuel to your net worth and your potential and your ability to sell something and be able to actually live the life that you want. At no point would I want just a cash flow business with no awareness around it.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what's funny, is it's not about the amount of money that it makes. Does it make a cash flow business or an equity business? As an example, my books, my publications, are more of an equity business than my coaching has ever been.
But your coaching makes you...
But even though my coaching has made me millions of dollars,
Yeah.
the books have done extraordinarily well too.
Right. But like in the time frame and the coaching makes more money. Yes.
Yeah. The books individually, just giving royalties every month, is technically more of an equitable business than any of my coaching.
Because you could sell the like rights to the books.
I've had offers on the rights to my books and I've declined them.
Yeah.
Someone can come in, the real offers have been made, and buy the rights to my books, and they could be profitable day one because all the systems are in place. I don't do anything with that, not a single thing. No advertising, no printing, no customer fulfillment, no shipping, no addresses.
You don't think about those books. You write them, you get rid of them, and then you're like, oh, I'm an Amazon bestseller, and then you're like, oh.
Literally, deposits show up every month. That is it.
Yeah.
That is absolutely it.
That's 100% an equitable business then.
Here's another big piece to that. I can write another book and place it inside that entity. What happens to that entity? What happens to the shares of that entity?
It's going to grow.
The value of the shares increase. Exactly. So if you want to buy that entity, you absolutely can, and it'll be profitable for you.
You're going to get a bunch of offers on your books after this.
Yeah,
video.
I've actually had a few offers on the rights to the books. I've declined them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still 100% owner in it. But okay. That's an interesting understanding to look at because most people be like, oh, it's just your books.
Yeah.
The books are more of a business than 90% of the things I've ever run.
Yeah.
Because the investment portfolio is equitable, the books are equitable, and then the coaching is based on IP. It's based on me right now. Now, the goal is to eventually create something that it moves into an equity style business.
So how would you do that with the coaching? Could you turn the coaching equitable?
Absolutely. I take my name off of it.
Okay.
You can use a franchise model. There's a number of different models that you can follow. But the big piece is I would have to create systems, hiring and delegating, and training. That way people could teach what I'm teaching off of the content that we make.
So you aren't 100% of the value. Like,
so
your face isn't all the value.
Yeah, I would never have to show up to a call. I would never have to be at a meeting or a speaking engagement, nothing like that.
But is that something that you're interested in? Would you want to do that?
So that's the fun. That's the beautiful part about. Look at you asking great questions. That's the beautiful part about this. Is if I own two equitable businesses, why would I ever have a cash flow style business? And the reason is, I love it. Yeah. I love what I do. I'm going to teach whether I get paid for it or not. It's just what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's because I love to do it. Now, I much prefer to be compensated for for
handsomely.
For coaching, but as a fair trade.
Yeah,
it's funny
it is fair because yes,
I actually don't price any coaching or mentorship or teachings off of what I do. It's all priced off the result of the client, the future result of the client. So if someone's going to make 6 figures, right, in their first year off of teachings, it is anything below 6 figures is actually a profit. So it makes sense for them to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually based off of whatever they are going to do, right? Or whatever history has shown that the results will be. That's how you can decide your pricing. Let's say you're going to price off one deal. If your average deal is 10 grand, pay 10 grand, cut off 10 years of a learning curve, cut off $1 million in learning, become more profitable earlier, and then your scale is going to be faster. So like it makes all the sense in the world to get coaching at that point. So that's how I price things. I don't even price it off of what I'm doing. I'm pricing it off of the history of the result of the client.
Okay.
But why have a cash flow business? One, I understand it's a cash flow business. So I understand I control it. So once you understand that you're in a cash flow business, you basically have 3 choices to make. You can do one of 3 things. You can recognize that it's a cash flow business, and you can take 100% of its earnings and place it into tangible assets that'll secure a future of finance for you.
So is that what you do?
Future financial gain, which is I choose real estate and other investments, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you're putting that money, that cash flow money, into something that will continue to make money for you without having to have your time and investment in it, that's okay.
Okay.
You can run a cash flow business for a long time like that because you're not going to get tired or exhausted from it because you're seeing results outside of it that are coming in to benefit you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially if it's what you love to do.
Right.
A lot of people get in trouble with this question. Well, if you make so much money, why do you teach? What they're really doing is they're going like, I think you're unethical and I don't think you do what you do. I think you just sell programs. That's really what they're trying to get at. And a lot of people get in trouble with that question because they don't have an answer for it. They haven't thought of like, how do I answer a question like that? And it's simple for me because I'm able to see past lunch. The simple answer for me is it's what I love to do. It's part of my purpose.
Yeah.
I am developing a purpose of helping people, so I have to teach.
You don't ever need to teach ever again.
No.
Financially, you are.
No, if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know you make a lot of money teaching, but you could stop right now and be fine for the rest of your lives without doing it.
Yeah, I already stopped once.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, I already completely.
And you went crazy because you wanted to keep doing
I already
it.
completely stopped once, and I was like, that's not going to work.
Not because you needed it, because you wanted to.
Yeah, this is what I love to do. This is part of my purpose. I'm going to fight for it, right? So that's an easy answer. It's part of my purpose. Are there people out there that don't do the thing that they teach and they simply capitalize on people, on manipulating people? Of course.
Yeah.
But also, is there a lot of really good teachers out there that make way more doing what they teach, but they love to teach and they love to help others? Absolutely.
Oh, there's plenty. We've met plenty of those.
So there's so many of them.
Yeah.
They're far more like that than there are in the other camp of like just trying to manipulate and take from people.
Yeah.
It's just the manipulate and take from people are much louder.
Yeah.
Like you hear much more about it because once they get caught, it blows up.
I'm in the same position with the photography.
Absolutely. I'm excited to go through it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll dig into that. So one of 3 things that you can do.
Oh,
One,
2 more.
Yeah. So you got 2 more. One, you can put everything into actual assets that will create for you for the future. Option number 2 is you can sit down and you can decide how you can make it an equitable business. So you have to figure out systems, you have to figure out training, delegation, and hiring.
Okay.
Not easy to do, but very doable. And it's something that doesn't have to happen overnight because once you recognize that I'm a cash flow business, but I want to be equitable, I want to be an equity style, all that is at that point is just taking the time
steps
to
and
build the
the
puzzle.
energy. Yes. Yeah.
To build the puzzle. And each thing's going to affect each other thing, and you're just going to have to take the time to do that, and that's perfectly fine. And number 3, which is my personal favorite, is you quit.
Oh, it's your favorite?
It's my favorite. It really is.
Okay.
And you quit immediately, and you sit down, and you take time to heal, and you take time to reflect, and you take time to figure out, how can I make this right for the future?
Have you seen this happen before? Have people you know done this?
And the reason that I say quitting is my favorite is because if you quit, you're actually taking the move, like you've made a decision that is extremely difficult, and you've made the decision that you are going to improve and become the person that you have to be to make the business what it needs to be.
Okay.
For it to for it to feed your life the way
Yeah.
that you truly want it to, or make the impact that you really want to, right? Oh yeah, I've absolutely seen people do this and do it at an extremely high level. You have actually seen people do it. We were actually just
I
talking
thought you were
about
going to say I've done this. I was like, I haven't quit.
No, you haven't quit. You don't need to quit. You're aware of this.
Yeah.
You have great people around you. You have you have. We were just talking about somebody that you've witnessed do this, and now they make more money on Snapchat than they did in any other of their businesses.
Yeah.
And they've had like 12 or 13 other ones.
Yeah.
And now they understand what they're doing, and they understand how to sell themselves, and they understand like how they brand themselves. Right? I'm not going to mention names or anything right now because I'm not interested in like pushing people all over the place and being confused. But my point is, if you think about that, right? You've watched people do this.
They did quit for a whole year before they figured it out and they switched over. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why quitting can actually be my favorite, but with the intention of healing, reflecting, getting better, and then setting off on a path that it can be successful in the way that you actually dream of it, because you're taking the time to truly create a picture of what I want it to be.
Yeah, not just quitting and then turning directions and picking up something else, but quitting and figuring
maybe
it out.
that was worded. Maybe I need to word it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't just quit and do nothing. And
Not
that's
quit
not my
and redirect,
favorite.
not quit and squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The reason I say quitting is one of my favorites is because it gives you the time and allows you to take the time to make it right.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to do because, well, if you're a cash flow business, what's going to happen? $0.
Yeah,
It's
because you're
going
not
to
going to make
zero.
any money.
It's going to zero overnight.
Yeah. Okay, so rapid fire. What are pros and cons of each? So start with equitable. What are pros and cons of an equitable business?
Let's start cash flow. Actually.
Start with cash flow. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Make a list.
So there's pros and cons of each. So a definite pro of cash flow is you get to take 100% of the liquidity out of the business and shove it in your pocket day one. Like the first thing that you sell, let's say you're starting a cash flow business, or let's just use yours as an example. Photography, videography, right? So what's someone pay for a wedding?
When I first started or now?
First started.
$1,000.
Okay, $1,000. So when you sold your first wedding, you got $1,000 come in.
And I put it in my pocket and walked away.
Put it in your pocket. Yeah, there's
obviously there's like things like gas and all that, but like
there's no real responsibility past that point.
Not
like,
paying employees or paying. Yeah.
You don't have expenses yet.
Yeah.
So you don't have systems and responsibilities yet. So you're just able to put it in your pocket. That's a real benefit of a cash flow business. I mean, you can create a lot of capital really quickly that way.
Oh yeah.
So if you have a great offer or a great product or a great service, I mean, you can create a lot of capital really quickly that you have access to day one.
It's really great until you run yourself into the ground because you worked so much that you made a big lump of money and now you're tired and you don't want to do it anymore.
And then you're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
That's why your option, out of those three options, one being, hey, go buy assets with it. That's why it's such a viable option. Like, that's why you should really be focused on it.
Because it gives you some of your time back.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You start actually buying your time back. People like the idea of buying your time back, but they don't actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's one pro. Another pro is you can be on your own. It can be simple. It can be based off something that you love to do, right?
You don't have to rely on other people outside, so like
Nope.
factors, anything like that.
Yeah, it can be very simple. It can be very lean. That's a
Yep.
definite pro. So what's a con of cash flow? You are at the mercy of you at all times. If you don't feel good and you have a wedding shoot,
I got to show up.
you got to show up to the wedding shoot.
If
right?
I break my leg, I'm down for 3 months.
Business is down.
Business is down for 3 months.
Business is down for 3 months or more.
Yeah.
yeah. More. What a wonderful example that was. Jeez.
That's actually a legitimate fear of mine. Is like breaking my leg or my right arm.
I don't want to have to learn how to use my left to shoot this. So that's a definite con. Another con, there's no future proofing it. There's no building a moat around it. That way competition doesn't come in and become more of a problem for you.
Yeah, there's only so much I can do to prevent stuff like that happening.
Right.
From happening, yeah.
If 45 more wedding venue shooters or videographers come in, right, in the next 6 hours, that's 45 that you have to deal with that you don't have a system built into your business that protects you from somebody who's younger and hungrier. So, I mean, there's that constant churning of competition when it comes to cash flow businesses. And then it usually gets petty, and then you start seeing people trash talk each other. Like, you've seen it online.
I've seen plenty of it.
You've seen plenty of it. So like, that's a good example. So those are a couple pros and a couple cons to cash flow style businesses. Couple pros to equitable style businesses. Well, one, your whole focus is a mindset shift towards creating share value. So your net worth is unlimited. In a cash flow style business, another con for cash flow style business, your net worth is whatever your monthly income is minus your expenses. There's your net worth.
And there's no limit to how much you can grow. You could just
with an equity style.
Yeah,
business.
you can just
Correct.
keep.
Oh yeah,
that's how these monster corporations are built.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's not overnight. It's piece by piece. It's puzzle piece by puzzle piece.
Right.
Let's try this thing here. Let's try this thing here.
But there's no roof. There's no ceiling for them.
No, that's why you have $1 trillion companies today.
Yeah.
So notice how none of them are cash flow businesses. They have cash flow aspects. They might have subscription models and things like that. But there's real systems, real people, real tangibility behind all of them, real products. Here's an example for you. What's the difference between an MLM, which is an actual cash flow style business and can be equitable?
Okay.
Right? Can it be an actual equitable business versus a pyramid scheme? But they look exactly the same to people.
I use those terms interchangeably. Didn't know they were different. So.
Oh, they're very different. MLM's a real business model.
Okay.
It's a very equitable business model too. Like, you can sell a lot.
I just look at anybody selling something like that on the internet and I say, that's a pyramid scheme.
No, because it looks the same.
Yeah, they look the exact same.
Like, there's the head and there's the body. Like,
yeah.
No, they look the same. A pyramid scheme doesn't have any real products. They just sell the next person on the idea of the idea.
Oh, so you're only selling for people to be
under you. That's it. There's no real products. There's no real
sale. So it's like me recruiting people to work under me, but nobody's actually really selling much.
Or there's no actual service or product. They just sell the next person under them.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you're like growing the people, into the business.
Into the new product zones.
Yeah. You're like, come be a girl boss with me. You want to work for them too. And then they come and then they hire 5 more people under them.
Very good.
Yeah.
So that would be a cash flow.
Oh.
That would, similar to a Ponzi scheme, but that would be a pyramid scheme that is a cash flow style, though illegal.
We'll say business.
But but cash flow style. Yeah. Now, an MLM is very equitable. They have systems, they have real people, they have real products.
So they're the ones that are actually selling products.
Yeah, think of
like the hair brand, the Arbonne Mary Kay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Those are MLMs.
Real products that you don't have to sign up to be a coach or be anything within it. You can just buy the product.
Yeah.
But you can get extra benefits by being allowed to sell it and get a commission from it.
Yeah.
Those are like, you want to tell me Mary Kay's equitable?
Yeah.
Oh, cash flow. It's equitable.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah. So depending on the style of the business, right, is how it can be built out. So it becomes unlimited. Mary Kay is unlimited. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're great at what they do. They sell products that people love individually if you want it. And they have great training programs and they love their people. I mean, man, like, that's the definition of running just an absolute world-class business. So hats off to them.
Mary Kay is the one that like gets my heart. Some of the other ones I'm like, stay away from me. You guys scare me.
Yeah, I mean, you're passing out pink Cadillacs to people. Come on.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So that's an obvious pro to equitable, is that it's absolutely unlimited. All right, so what's a downside to having equity?
Can I say another pro?
Yeah, if you want.
Being able to walk away, like being able to go on vacation.
Yes, you actually buy your time back.
And you have freedom of mind when you leave too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A true owner of an equitable business can pass it on and it continue to grow without them.
Yeah.
That's why it's so unlimited.
That's a pro.
Oh, absolutely. You can sell it for a huge. Well, let's go through real quick. Let's just compare them back and forth again. A cash flow style business that can't be sold, right? The most valuable thing in a cash flow business is the contact list.
Yeah.
That's it. So a per dollar or per cent for the number of emails. That's literally it. That's the most equitable thing inside of a cash flow business. Inside of an equity business, it can be sold for multiples of gross revenue over a course of years. So I want you to think about that. If it makes $1 million a year and you can sell it at a 10x multiple, that's a $10 million sale. And if you're a $10 million company and you're selling it at 9x multiple, 10x multiple, now we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So absolutely unlimited, untapped on the equity side. and there's different options for selling them too. But now what's a downside or potential downside to Equitable is you don't get to take as much from it up front.
Okay.
Because everything's going back into the business
Oh, yeah,
to
you're just
create the
reinvesting in the
systems, to
business.
create the people. So yeah, so you might have to live super thin or break even or operate break even for a number of years while you build.
Would you say it's harder to do an equitable business versus cash flow?
For sure.
Like from the
Cash flow
jump?
business is so much easier.
I was gonna say.
I could create a new cash flow business tomorrow and be profitable by Friday.
Yeah, but not an equitable business.
I could create a new offer as we sit here. What's today? Today's Monday. You're going to be watching this on a Thursday, but so in a couple days, right? By the time this launches, I could create a new offer and be profitable. That's a cash flow business.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the case in an equity business because you're going to be building systems. You're going to be hiring people. You're going to be delegating, training, creating product, like product development. I mean, there's so many things. There's HR, there's accounting, there's finance. There's so many pieces within an equity style business to have it operate properly that it just takes time.
Okay.
But it has higher potentials. But undoubtedly a downside.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of other downsides.
Okay. So
it's not that there's no downsides, but they are so brightly outshined by the upside. Most people think, well, I can't afford to hire. Well, how do you do that? Well, you get the resources, you get the money.
You get more business, or you raise your rates, or you create the opportunity to hire you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it has to go back into the business. That's why it ends up taking longer than a cash flow style business, or that's why it's some of the downsides to that.
Yeah.
Let's go through yours.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
So fun.
What do you
I think we have different definitions of fun.
What do you think about your Well, first of all, before we brought this up,
Yeah.
How did you look at your business?
I didn't know there was a difference between cash flow and equity businesses until right before we started.
Okay.
So I just thought that I was a business.
So you looked at yourself as a business, not the business.
Yeah, I have a very full understanding of the fact that I knew it without the titles, that I was a cash flow business basically, because I can't walk away from it without it plummeting.
Without losing it.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Have you ever looked at the business as the product itself? So most people think, well, if I'm going to create a business, there's products within the business that people buy.
Yeah.
Right? There's marketing, and then there's momentum, and then people pay a certain amount of money and they get a product, right? As the entrepreneur, okay, you should be thinking of the business as the only product.
Okay. So the business is the product. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying?
That ensures that you're outside of it.
Yeah.
Right? The business is not to be built on you or around you. It's meant to be built by you.
Okay.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah. So in the last probably year, this has been something that I've really thought about, without titles and stuff, but thought about, because it has been on my mind that I can't just walk away from it. I can't take a break. I can't stop, because I am the business. And I've built the whole photography business under Aisley Herndon. It's my name.
Yeah.
It is me. People expect me.
But what's cool about that is, let's name something that has someone's name on it, but you're not expecting to see them or be fulfilled by them. Think of handbags.
Who?
Think of
handbags.
Handbags, personal brand stuff.
Yeah.
You're not expecting if or makeup.
Yeah.
Makeup under someone's specific name. You're not expecting, if you call into customer service, that you get them.
Right.
Or that you're going to buy it, you're buying it from them. Or if you go into the store, you're buying it from them. So you can have your name. So the style of business that you have, what's cool is that since it's so brand focused or style focused specific, like when you think about your business, you think about a specific style, or
editing
look.
style and look of the photos. Yeah.
Right.
So I've been working on in the direction that we're talking, because I've hired photographers underneath of me, associate photographers, who, whenever I have multiple weddings on the same day, I have a team that goes and does shoots the on-site work of the weddings. So I'll do one, and then I have another photographer at a different location on that day. And the couple doesn't expect me to be there. They expect, if it's Sienna, to be there, or Chris to be there.
Yeah.
And they do the shooting. And then the photos are still edited either by me, or I'm considering hiring an editor now because I have so much work during my busy season.
Yeah.
Edited in my style and given back to them.
That's awesome. So that's the most business equitable business action that you've taken so far.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the second most, because that, and also you've sold, I don't know what do they call
presets, but it's been so long since I've done those. But yeah.
Yeah.
At one point I was selling presets.
But you had a product that actually had the ability to create revenue without you working on it.
Yeah.
So that was like your first little taste of building something equitable.
Yeah.
So what would make that truly equitable of you hiring the other videographers and photographers would be a specific system in which they get hired, they get marketed to, hired, and paid.
Okay.
So if you built that and automated that, and then you wouldn't have to run that, you could train somebody else on that. That becomes your first real little system that someone could look at Aisley Herndon Photography and go, if I bought it, it would still actually create revenue.
Right.
Because there's a way for it to be marketed to people. They would hire, they would call in, they would talk to the other videographers or photographers. There would be a sales process. You start to see what I'm talking about?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Yeah, so like...
Right now, my focus is being able to go and travel on a trip while people still work. and it's still operating.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you realize that.
Yeah.
Like you recognize that. It's when people don't recognize that they build themselves a little prison.
Yeah.
And then have to sit within it and go, I don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. Well, I was in that for a moment. It was probably a good 3 months before I was like, no, I can't do this anymore.
I'm like, I actually worked 200 hours a week for the past
yeah,
for the past 3
one
months.
season from like July until November, I just didn't eat, sleep, or breathe anything but photography.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks. I can't do
100
this.
flights. I know filming this podcast was like, when are you going to be back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's your first little step into moving from just a cash flow business, you being the business, you being the entity, to building something equitable that can actually operate as a business.
But the other thing is that, like you said with your teaching, I don't know that I'd ever want to fully be an equitable business. I don't know that I'd ever want to sell my business. I'm okay. Like at least right now where I'm at, I'm happy with being a photographer and then putting all of my capital and the money that I make into other assets and making money elsewhere, like real estate, like investing in real estate or investing elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
which you've done a good job with.
Yeah. I do like the idea of being able to grow the business and having other people work under me while I still am working too, so that I'm not doing as much work. Like I like the idea of giving up some of my work.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'd ever want to just sell the company.
So you want to be a specified leader then?
Yes.
Which is great.
At least for now. Right now that's the goal. It could always change.
Yeah.
But I recognize, like you said, that I love what I do. I love my job. I have no complaints right now. I really like what I'm doing.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And one of the things that I definitely think and talk about is if you're going to start a cash flow style business, such as you have.
Yeah.
Such as I have multiple times now. Man, you better love it.
You have to really love it, because you have to love it through the bad. Oh yeah. You have to love it through the times when you don't want to do it.
You better love it when you should be cutting sandwiches at a deli instead because you hate it. You got to love it because it will take you for everything that you are worth.
Yeah.
Before you have the chance to turn it into an equitable business. Like you can't be, I'm just going to do this for money. Good luck.
Yeah.
Seen you do it.
You
Seen
try
people do it.
Working.
Can't see past lunch. I'm just going to solve my problems for today by selling this thing and then promising this thing that I got to fulfill. Have fun getting 6 months behind on that. Horrible.
I texted you the one time last year when I worked 4 weddings in a row, 4 12-hour days in a row, and I had all of that editing to do. I had like 30 hours of editing ahead of me.
Yeah.
And like I was then going to another photo shoot, and I texted you and I was like, I'm crying on my kitchen floor right now. I'm so tired. I'm so drained. I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to move.
I literally said, I was like, I'm quitting. Like I'm going back to working at Starbucks.
Yeah, cash flow. I forgot you worked there. The cash flow life is not for everybody.
Yeah.
If it ends up not being for you and you recognize that you're in it, again, you got one of 3 options. 1, start putting every dime that you make into tangible assets. Not a bad idea. Do it for a period of time. That'll support you and allow you to build something that you really want. 2, you got to turn it into an equitable business. But if you already hate it, if it's already taking from you that much, it's going to be really tough to do because you got to stick with it for a long time and not take the money from it.
Yeah.
Which the only thing I was sticking around for is for the money.
Yeah.
And then number 3, again, a personal favorite of mine, if it's the right thing for you in the right situation that you're going to be able to heal and reflect and be able to build something the right way, is to quit. And to get away from it and to make sure that you can do it the right way. That way you can fulfill the purpose that you are creating.
I'm headed toward 1 right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm headed toward option 1.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you've already been practicing that.
Yeah.
which is great because if you do option 1, you can eventually turn it into option 2. It actually makes option 2 easier.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to take everything from the business. Like imagine if you had a $30,000 or $40,000 weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got multiple shoots going on, you got people moving around, you got other people bringing in income. Imagine if you didn't have to take a single dime of that 30 or 40 grand in that weekend.
And you just put it right back in.
And you're able to put it in the systems, operations, and automations in the software.
Because I have something else sustaining my lifestyle, like real estate or...
You're not worried about your bills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really good to know this, like to have titles to put to this and be able to define it myself. Because like I've had these ideas, but now I'm going to be more aware of it. I think like you said, awareness of this is so key.
Yeah, you can track and measure it then.
Yeah.
I learned this because for 8 years I thought I was running an equitable business and I was running a cash flow business.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I got really close.
Yeah.
Really close to turning it into an equitable business, but there was a few pieces that were off.
Right.
And if you have a few pieces that are off, it doesn't become equitable because it becomes a risk for someone else and they're not going to buy a risk. They're looking to buy a profit, right? So I got close. I learned a lot from it. And that's why I can answer the question now, why in the world would you run a cash flow business that I am if I know that it has to become equitable or, you get tired and exhausted? 1, I love what I do. I'm going to do it. And then 2, I know how to build it into something equitable now and not make the mistakes that I did previously.
These are all from places of experience, every single one of them.
Yeah.
You've had cash flow businesses, you've had equitable, you've had cash flow that you thought was equitable.
I've sold equitable.
You've had equitable without knowing that it was equitable. You've sold equitable.
Yep.
And you have quit. You have turned something to equitable, and you have
spent every single dime on tangible assets.
Yes, and you've done all of these. So you are full proof that this is real and this is how it works, and like these are real methods.
Yeah, and that through pain and suffering, you get to come out the other.
Your only goal was to help other people avoid making the problems that you did.
It's it.
Yeah,
that's it. And if I would have known this a decade ago, oh man, so many things. Oh, I don't regret any of it.
Right, because it got you where you are now.
Because I wouldn't have the experience and the feelings, and all this stuff is so deeply emotional too. Like the pain that I've felt, like
really, you're like 3 months off, 4 months off. That that was hard.
The transition of learning about this and going through it, like you just feel. Like if you think you have an equitable business, or the day that you recognize that you can't step away from your cash flow business and you realize like how vulnerable you are,
it wrecks you.
You can't sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like the deepest feelings of my being that I went through. Of it pulls on every breath that you have. It pulls you up from sleeping. Like you get the feeling in the bottom of your throat where you never actually take like a full breath.
Because everything could be gone in an instant.
Because you just recognized that you're at the mercy of actually everything when you thought you were in control of everything.
Yep.
And you couldn't be any more wrong.
I hope this helps a lot of people. I really do. Like, I think that business owners who see this, I mean, it like has already helped me. Like, I'm recognizing things in myself, like what you just said. Now that I have the whole life policy started and I own my house, I think all the time, I'm like, wow, I have this pillow. Like, I feel good. Like there's a weight off of my chest that I wasn't even aware of now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have reserves.
I'm less scared of like losing everything now.
Yeah, because you're placing things and things that have actual value.
Or like I'm less scared of having a bad month too.
Yeah.
Like January last month was like not my best month I've had. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's always like less in the winter season, but like I just had a slow month and I wasn't as fearful as I used to be in the winter because I own my house.
Because of the preparations that you took a year ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a business owner, if you have friends that are business owners, if you've ever wanted to become a business owner, become your own boss, share this with somebody. Share this video with somebody that you think this will help, because we are here to help. This is our whole goal with this channel, is to connect a couple different generations. Younger peoples, old peoples, younger peoples. But no, I want to be able to help you guys through these things that aren't talked about in business. Like these two things aren't typically talked about.
No.
Like... I've
had a business for like 5 years now and I've never heard any of this.
Yeah, you don't see this much. You don't hear about this. You don't hear about the psychology behind all of it. So recognize that you can make your business whatever you want, but you have to be able to picture what you actually want it to be, and then you can go to creating it and making it happen versus the other way around of like, oh, let's see where this goes. Because then and you're going to be in trouble a lot.
Yeah. This was awesome.
So thank you for watching. Again, share this with somebody that you think is worth it. Share this with somebody that you think it'll help. And then if you guys have questions, make sure to put it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.